The tanks did actually back up there to the 3. They're behind some supply depots, but more tanks setting up actually. Flash might. Okay, now he's going to bring those tanks back, and Reach has actually run right into a trap. He, instead of taking that far left route and just forcing Flash to choose or reinforce completely to a direction he isn't going, he's going very, very slowly across this, allowing Flash to reinforce from the right, and he's going to end up losing a lot of his attack force as a result. And he's kind of squandering this lead, and he's not taking the natural expansion that upper right. So Reach is giving Flash his opportunity to get back in this game. Flash does have that 3 seal. Keep in mind it's a mineral only, though. It's not gas, which is really going to hurt Flash. He's going to have to stay Vulture heavy. Let's see if Reach... Oh, all he has to do is focus fire that. It'll be worth it if he focus fires with those Dragoons, but it doesn't look like he's doing so. Those tanks are going to be able to wipe out those Dragoons fairly easily. He's... Oh, some High Templar in transition. Looks like a bad rally point getting wiped out, but a nice Psy Storm. That Templar is going to rack up a lot of kills quickly, and now the out of position Dragoon is going to move along that right hand edge. Should be able to get a couple SCV kills there as well. So at least hurting the economy somewhat, and the Dragoons getting wiped out. I was expecting a much larger side attack force at that location after the big commitment on that edge. Looks like some probes are going to be able to... Okay, finally Reach taking that additional expansion there. I expected Reach to do all 3 actually. Take the natural expansion upper right, and then simultaneously do an attack, and do it from 2 directions instead of kind of the slow draw that he did there. Maybe you just didn't have... Maybe he was just too Psy committed on that initial troop grouping. More troops starting to move out in the field. He's still got those arbiters out here, but Flash putting up a stalwart defense, moving all of his tanks to that upper right once again. Let's see if Reach can this time capitalize by moving along that left-hand edge. He is going to move back. Okay, now he's moving. He's going to run headlong into a minefield, but now that entire... Oh, okay, a lot of those tanks moving back to this location. A lot of supply depots in the way, and actually it's going to be reinforcements. 3 tanks, a skeleton crew, 3 tanks, a single Goliath, and a couple vultures to try to defend this, but nice building placement ahead of time is really going to impede this force. So the Zealot's not able to get in. They're just acting acting like they act on that front, and that's going to stymie that as well. So Flash somehow defending, and now, recall over the main. Not a lot of troops, but it should be enough to do some damage. If Reach can just... I don't think he needs to go after the factories here. If he can just concentrate on that supply, force... loses his Arbiter, actually. If he can concentrate on some of this supply and force Reach Flash back, if he's got another grouping macroed up, he can just try to keep Flash out of position. He can't defend everywhere at once, essentially. Instead, moving... That confuses me. He's going to pile back in that bottom right-hand corner. Maybe just... I'm not quite sure what the purpose of that is at all. Now starting to go after some supply. I guess just not wanting to get sieged out or something. But Reach actually faltering a little bit. He's been at several bases for quite some time. He's actually mined out at his main. He's mined out at his secondary. But he's still running off 3 bases, that upper right, versus Flash's more or less 1, well 2, at the lower 3. And also the southern 9, technically 8 o'clock. But Reach not having a lot of counterattack troops, and Flash going in for a huge attack, unsieging everything and just pushing up. Ouch. Catching some probes in transition here. And he's going to be able to take everything out to that upper right. Reach's macro just failing him here. Just not a lot of troops on the ground. Dark Templar moving in. Looks like some High Templar are going to get sieged along the way. And really to take on a Terran trooping like this, you either need to be well prepared ahead of time, or you need to be, or just have overwhelming amounts of units. Now he's got the units starting to pour out, but too little too late. Flash has now gotten some position. I think he can sacrifice this, actually. He can sacrifice that 8 o'clock expansion if he can take out Reach's 2 expansions and maybe take out that 1 o'clock, because then he'll have stronger units on the ground. Reach will not be able to keep up basically with his upgrades, and he can go back to playing Camper Terran off that mineral only, and also across that actual 3 rather than the southern 3. 4 o'clock that he's talking about. Now he's going to turn around, pincer this attack trooping in. Dragoons running in all over the place. Looks like... Actually, no. So Flash is going to leave 3 tanks in the background. Reach starting to crash down on that 3 o'clock. Whoa. Flash needs to keep that if he's going to end up winning this game. But it looks like a couple units there. Are they going to get there in time? That is a lot of siege tanks. They are going to be in there in time, and Reach is not going to be able to penetrate this. And a couple tanks in the front remaining unsieged, and he's just going to let his upgrades do the work. And Reach losing that entire attack grouping without accomplishing anything, which is devastating, absolutely devastating. You would think, the way this is playing out, that Reach did not just have more or less 2, basically a base and a half over Flash, and that Flash wasn't as bad on his unit count as he was, but just macro beast coming out of this, and now he's going to be able to wipe out everything in that upper right hand corner. A couple side storms to just try to slow this down. It's not going to really do anything though. Dark Templar in the mix, but there's an good stasis though. to at least hold that for a moment, but I don't know that he's going to be able to save anything there. And keep in mind that trick that Flash was using earlier with that dropship, that'll work just as well with the science vessel and tanks on that opposite edge. Reach is going to essentially be baseless, so he's going to try to run back in. Maybe he can go and take out that lower 3. It looks like it's going to be Starvation versus Starvation game. A lot of vultures being annoying in the meantime, laying some mines, doing some damage that way. Arbiter coming up to support. That command center is lifted off. More tanks moving out, and it looks like they're being a little bit. He's being a little ambivalent as to where he wants to defend. I think he might be worried about a recall, because then he'd have to cycle those troops all the way back, and I don't know that he has enough resources to build any reinforcements here. And that Arbiter is kind of hanging over that corner, pretty heavily damaged. Reach needs to hold on to that. Looks like he will kill that command center. So now it's who outlasts who, and honestly I think Flash is going to have the advantage in that contest just because of the upgrades. And tanks, fully upgraded Terran tanks are just scary, and I don't know that there really is any counter to that, especially with science vessels out in the air. Psystorm able to take out that science vessel, but there's nothing underneath the Arbiter to really make that any sort of effect. Flash has taken out that upper right hand base. Reach is mined out at all of his expansions, so now he is running dry, and 3 tanks moving to that position I was talking about earlier, and it looks like a Dark Templar moving up, but either ComSat or a science vessel at that key location, and that will be the solid economic lead for Flash. It looks like it's going to be ComSat. Reach is in big trouble now, actually, and you can see the desperation. I think he's panicking a little bit here and sending in a lot of attack troopings. He really wants to do something here, but I'm not sure what he can do with his attack group. He's going to be running headlong into a really bad kind of position where mines are already established, and some siege tanks, actually no, they're not established. Some siege tanks wandering back around. I thought that's where the siege tanks were already located. Dark Templar kind of chasing that attack force off. They've already managed to kill a significant amount of troopings, but troops. But Reach turning it around. He's not unable to defend that, and Reach, wow, locked out of bases. I think Flash, with that, has managed to take this game. He's going to have to survive a little bit more out of Reach, but otherwise, he is economically ahead. He's got one base that's still fairly fresh. It doesn't have a lot of minerals left. That's one base versus one base, and he's got vultures, and vultures are very good units, really. I'm not sure how much gas he has in the bank. It looks like he lifted off the command center he had built in that bottom right. Oh, he's got to get that. Got to get the MP. Did manage to get the MP. That Arbiter doing absolutely nothing, which hurts a lot. ComSat to kill that Dark Templar. Now all he has to do is make sure Reach does not take anything to that upper right, and Flash will win the game. He just has to make sure that he's establishing position and that Reach is running into his units rather than the other way around. Looks like he's moving up. He wasn't sieged there. He's going to have to retreat a little bit against this Arbiter. He could end up bleeding a lot of units out of this. Looks like he is, in fact. This might be a turning point here for Reach, but it doesn't look like, ooh, good EMP. So that'll keep that Arbiter from doing any stasis or recalls, but no Psystorm here to really punish these troops in retreat. Looks like they're kind of a piecemeal Psystorm. This actually, Reach got a lot of units, but he cannot commit here. He's got to turn around. Oh, turn around, Reach. No, turn around, Reach. He's going to end up losing a lot of these troops. That Arbiter does not have a stasis. I think he thought it had a stasis. Otherwise, that would have been more successful than it was. But across that kind of funnel position, those Dragoons absolutely melt. 5 troops left. Reach does not have the units. He does not have the resources to replace that. That is GG right there. If Reach, I'm losing 2 more Dragoons to a mine. I think if Reach had turned around and gone to another location to try to engage, he would have been okay, but committing that entire attack force there at that location was a huge mistake. Flash, just to make sure he cleans things up, he's going to check that upper right, make sure that natural expansion wasn't taken. I think he still might have a mine in that upper right-hand base to kind of keep an eye out up there. Could use ComSat just to make sure it's not taken. But now he can take that natural 3. He can also take what's into the upper right, and all he's got to stop him are 3 Dragoons. And yeah, somehow coming out with this, there were several points in this game where I thought Reach was just going to run away with it, but just using some amazing troop movement and some amazing macro, just with, and I don't know where he pulled the minerals out of. He just made them appear out of nowhere. Just a magician, I guess. Wow, able to come back into this game, able to win it out. And I think that's going to be, that might be it. I think that is the Alamo right there for Reach. Those Dragoons and these few Zealots, as well as that Arbiter. I can't imagine him having all that much success with those, though. And Flash, all he has to do is siege up where he's at. Looks like he can siege up right there as well, and maybe get another expansion. I'm surprised Reach hasn't GG'd already, actually. But it looks like he's going to end up losing this base. Or it looks like that science vessel just kind of wandering out to the north. But Flash, able to produce a lot of vultures here. I still think he's got a couple troops out about. Now Reach starting to wander about. I think he's going to try to distance mine with those probes. It's possible he's going to try to attack with those probes just to kind of do one last second futile attack. He is moving them out of lane where they're just going to maybe provide some tank fodder. But this is how desperate Reach is to win this game. Yeah, he's going to move them in with that attack. Looks like another EMP is going to catch that Arbiter once again. That might have been something helpful, and that's going to make the probes even weaker. And that is a huge amount of vultures. Those vultures plus that EMP, that's going to make those Dragoons even weaker than they were before. Against level 3 upgrades, full upgrades are just scary, and that army is melting, absolutely melting. Flash running up, catching it in position. That Arbiter's going to die. There's GG. Excellent game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if you have any requests, thank you, and a special thanks to everybody who's donated thus far for this month. And I'm not sure what to, I want to give like something in return. If you have any ideas, PM me or leave a comment as far as donator rewards. I really haven't thought of anything that's not too crazy time consuming. Anyway, thanks for listening, guys. If you have any other requests, let me know. Just PM me.